Alrighty. How old is Fei? I know when he was in OG Classic, he was in like his mid to late 30s. So I don't know if he's 40 yet, but regardless, he looks damn good for his age. That those Asian genes doing some work for sure. Okay, just gonna deafen Discord for a bit.
My thoughts on SoD. Actually, going to be my final thoughts on SoD.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Well, hmm. I mean, I somebody said a couple of weeks ago, I think that like Onslaught was done on SOD, and I didn't realize that. Well, I didn't know if that was true, and I didn't know quite what the reason was. But I guess this might be the reason, huh? You didn't expect this voice? No, he's got like the deep Giga Chad voice. I know it doesn't match what he looks like at all, but yeah.
Because effective immediately, I'm closing down Onslaught.
Oh man, that sucks. I mean, even if I wasn't playing with them on SOD, I was still rooting for them to succeed and rooting for them to do well and be visible in the community and blah blah blah. But that does. I'll be honest. The fact that knowing what happened with SOD, the fact that Fei was not on board does not surprise me because he's similar to me in that he loves the world buff pump and he loves the going as hard as fucking possible and he loves the same idea as me that like the fewer the restrictions the better, the fewer the kind of gatekeeping of how to have fun the better. And I'll be curious to hear his reasons, but on its face at least, I Fei knowing how similar to me he is as a how he approaches the game, not liking it makes sense.
I've come to the realization, quite some time ago actually, I've come to the realization that SoD isn't for. It's not for me. Um, it's just not for me. And because it's not for me, because I'm not enjoying it, I'm going to shut it down. Um, that's going to come as a big disappointment for a lot of you guys. For the few of you that are still enjoying the game uh, and not raid logging.
Man, that sucks. I mean, I guess it kind of indicates what most people's feelings in Onslaught were about SOD. Uh, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not surprised. I I saw kind of SOD day one as like a game mode that was supposed to be a more supposed to be something that more appealed to like the casual player base. And so trying to run a Super Sweatlord guild and be a part of a Super Sweatlord guild and a version of the game that was more catered towards casual players was I was something that was probably going to hinder your experience. That was my assumption, and I get the feeling that ended up playing out for a lot of people in Onslaught the way he's talking.
But the writing's been on the wall for a very, very, very long time. Um,
Yeah, he's got luscious hair
I
for
should
sure.
probably give a little bit of Phalor for all of the.
A little bit of what?
I should
Little.
probably give a little bit of Phalor for all
Oh,
of
Fey
the
lore. Okay.
people we've picked up in dying guilds over the last couple months that all quit their guilds because they were dying and came over to raid with us. A little bit about me. First off, I am in my early 40s.
Oh, okay. So
Medmaw,
he's
Commander Dog, Clevis, and I.
he
We were
looks
all
so fucking
born
good
in
for
the
early
very early
40s. Holy
80s.
shit! I hope I still look that good in my early 40s. I mean, like if I mean you can tell his face has aged a little, but still, like goddamn.
We were kind of on that line between Gen X and Millennial. We kind of grew up with the genre. I know Alk has said on our stream, he's talked about how, him and I, we grew up playing, we had the internet before anyone else um, in the early 90s. So I would telnet into these multi-user dungeon text-based games. I played the original Neverwinter Nights, Meridian 59. EverQuest came out when I was in high school. I played that stuff like crazy when I was a senior.
I didn't
So
actually realize he played EverQuest, but
definitely
that makes sense.
into the MMO scene and kind of grew up alongside it. When WoW came out in 2004, I got it uh, day one, midnight release party. Back in November 2004, I was already past drinking age. My first kid was already on the way. Which, by the way, my
Goddamn.
kids are graduated. I am a dad, and
I
one
didn't
of them's already
realize.
moved out of
Yeah,
the
I
house.
mean,
So
I know he has kids, of course, and I knew like he had them relatively young, but I didn't realize like, damn, he'd already had them, one was already on the way when WoW came out. Holy shit, puts things in
like,
perspective.
if I'm not the target demographic for SOD, I don't know who is. Uh,
Well, that's the thing, Faye. I don't think you are. Well, okay. I guess people in your age range, I guess, on average, probably are. I guess. So I mean, like, if we're talking about like, that's not a great freeze frame. Let me. There we go. If we're talking about people in your age range, I guess I would agree that like, yes, like you're the target audience for SoD. But as far as like how you approach the game, talking to you as if I'm like having a personal conversation. As far as how he approaches the game, I don't think he's the target audience. I think the alternate universe version of Fei, who had a kid right when WoW came out, so he played it 2 hours a week and did a 5-man dungeon every now and then, and one time he zoned an MC and left after 30 minutes because he had to put the kids to bed. I think that's the version of Fei that they're trying to appeal to, not the one who leads Onslaught. By the way, I prefer the one who leads Onslaught, not Dad Gamer Fei. So, I don't know what he was expecting as far as like who they were trying to market SOD for, but I don't think it was for a guild like Onslaught.
You know, if I'm not the target demographic for SoD, I don't know who is. But so I have over 35,000 hours as a shaman. Resto Shaman, vanilla Resto Shaman.
You'd always, this number gets bigger every year. He would always throw out this number, and I don't know how true it is, but I'm sure he's played a shitload.
I haven't really played TBC. I've never touched Wrath. I've never played any of these modern or retail WoWs. I've never touched.
I think Fei would have been okay with TBC, honestly. I don't think he would have liked it as much as vanilla, just like me, but I think he would have been okay with it. Wrath, though, I don't know. Over the years when I heard Fei talk about his approach to the game, it was extremely similar to mine. So like because of that, I think like he probably would have been okay with TBC, would not have liked Wrath.
Touched them. I've never played any of it. I played from 2004 to the early 2007, quit in the original TBC because I wanted big raids, and they weren't doing the big raids anymore.
True.
I moved on and never looked back until I got roped into doing the private server things. Onslaught, we were on Skull Crusher, and one of the guys in the guild, Gum, started this thing called Scriptcraft, and through a chain of events, I ended up playing on the private servers and doing all that stuff.
Gum as in Gummy?
I was pretty seeped in it for quite some time. So I have a lot of hours. I'll probably, if my boomer ass can figure out how to do it, I'll probably edit it, show my different play times on SoD. But we looked at it the other day. I'm well over 3,500 hours on my 4 Shaman.
3,500 hours? Wait, so that's how many days played? Wow. Really? How long has it been since SOD came out? It came out, what, last fall, right? So, like, it's been out 9 months? 10 months? Call it 9 months. So that'd be 270 days. So what he just said implies he's been online for like half the time, like half of every day on average since SOD came out. Okay, it was November 26th. I mean, okay, shit. So that's like, yeah, it's like 9 months. I mean, that checks out. I'm not surprised by that. Like the fact he's been online probably on average 12 hours a day.
For SoD,
probably not the target player for SOD though. Yeah.
So I kind of feel like my opinion's a little valid here. I kind of know what I'm talking about. But it's not for me. And it's not nostalgia, like I said. It's like, I'm open to change. I love a lot of the changes they've done. I really like...
That's definitely something where he and I differed. He was not as staunchly no changes as I was. Nothing wrong with that. But this is why I was like, I wasn't surprised when he was giving SOD a shot, because he was always talking about how like he'd love to see a evolved version of vanilla eventually, and for better or for worse, that's what SOD is, I guess, depending on how you look at it. So I think that the changes that I think he had in mind probably weren't quite in line with SOD.
The way they're going to do Kazakh and Azurgos now, I really like dual spec.
Oh, what did you say? Did he
Kazakh and Azurgos now?
Did you say he
likes... I love a lot of the changes they've done. I really like the way they're going to do Kazakh and Azurgos now.
Probably because he wasn't interested in scouting world bosses for 20 hours a day anymore. Can't say that I blame him. Yeah. Even if the concept of making a world boss an instanced boss instead, in reality, world bosses fucking suck, man. The concept sounds cool to some people, but like when you're actually trying to just farm them over and over again, yeah, and you're waking up to Crazy Frog at 3 a.m., that shit's miserable, dude. So like, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, even though I find, like I said, the concept of making Azurgos and Kazakh to be dungeon bosses or raid bosses, like in an instance, to be silly, for the overall gameplay experience, I agree that is for the best, for sure.
The changes they've done, I really like the way they're going to do Kazakh and Azurgos now. I really like dual spec, and I like doing new content. And
as a PvPer, or the Fei being more of a PvPer, I can see why he likes that.
You know, breaking it, and figuring it out, and solving it, if you will. I'm a very tempo-oriented, high aggressive
APM,
like healer in raids. And I love raid leading, and I love doing the raids, but you know, it's just the writing's been on the wall for so long, man. SoD's not for me, and here's why SoD's not for me. There's no 40-man raids. That's, for starters, there's no 40-man raids. And this isn't going to be news to a lot of you guys. In Officer Chat in February, when they teased that they were going to do 20-man Molten Cores, I said, if they do 20-man Molten Cores, I quit. Maybe I'll show some of that. I'll link some of that stuff in Discord showing.
I'm not as attached to the number 40 in raids as much as he is. I definitely very strongly prefer 40-man raids, but 25-man raids, or in the case of MC, I guess an SOD being 20-man raid, isn't like an immediate deal breaker for me. It's not something that I really want to do, but like it's not like it's irredeemable at that point to me. So it's interesting to hear that for him was such a deal breaker. But I mean, he said earlier in the video, right, that he was like he loves the 40-man raid environment. I do too. I mean, I'm right there with him in that, like, I agree that anything less than 40 doesn't feel as exciting or epic or whatever.
During those conversations, but I was very upset that they would do 20-man Molten Cores. It's just not for me. I don't like how alt-friendly this game is. It's very not alt-friendly. How many people quit the game in Phase 3 because it's so expensive to fucking pump? Like,
is it? I remember, for someone who doesn't play SOD, why is it expensive? What costs gold that makes it so expensive? I'm not asking this as like a slight on it. I just don't actually know the answer. The runes? Oh, right, because aren't you swapping runes between different encounters? Oh, yeah, okay, that would make sense. Consumes. I mean, okay, consumes. Sure, enchants, dark moon cards. I didn't realize dark moon cards were a thing, but okay. Level 60 buffs at level 50 farming. Oh, true. Yeah, so like, you know, I guess stuff like Mongoose is going to be at a premium since like it's harder to farm that, and 3 gold plus for a chili. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, without GDKPs, right? Like, if you don't like farming, which I like it, but it's not for everyone, then making gold is, I'm sure, a miserable part of the game for a lot of people, which, even if I'm not necessarily in favor of the gameplay style of only making gold doing GDKPs and nothing else, like some people obviously enjoy doing it that way, and if you do, then like, yeah, it should be an avenue that you have at least as an option, and if you don't have it as an option, then yeah, I'm sure it sucks. But yeah, the expense, honestly, I never even considered the expensiveness as one of the factors, but it makes sense, I guess, yeah. And then, like, the funny thing is, like, wasn't SOD, like, ultra alt-friendly in the first phase? Hell, maybe even the second phase? I don't know about the second phase, but in the first phase, I mean, I heard from some people, like, that's the only thing there was to do, right? Like, all you were able to do was basically level alts, like, once you were max level, so. Don't people just buy gold? How is that left out? Because I know this is going to blow your mind, man, but the vast, vast, vast majority of players do not buy gold. Do some? Yes. Do the vast majority of players buy gold? No. It's a problem that, while it's definitely a problem, it is overestimated by some people and used as a scapegoat to explain away any sort of inconvenience economics issues to some people. But anyways, let's continue.
When Beard and Fudley quit, it was like...
Who and Fudley?
I remember when Beard and Fudley quit.
Hold on, let me redefine here. I don't know who Beard is, but Fudley quit.
4,000 gold for a deck, 3,000 for the other deck, each veracity was like 500, 600, 700, peaked at 800 gold. You need 2 of those. If you're in a chance, cost
Shit, it's cheaper
about
than Era.
1,000 gold. Like, just to spool up a DPS ult, non-ranged hunter, it was like, I mean, we're talking like 7,500 gold. People, how is this the most un-alt friendly?
I don't know what the gold per hour is in SOD, but yeah, that is a lot. I mean, like, if, and I know what you're about to say. Well, in Era, it's way more than that if you want to get like geared as a warrior. Like, yes, that's true, but that's to get basically to skip to the end. If you want to get to level 60, cut the line, get to the very, very end on Era with all the Naxx gear, and you're gonna have to pay a fuckload of gold, right? But if you want to start small, just go to dungeons, get your Prebis, and then start buying stuff in ZG or whatever. It's going to be affordable to the point where you can probably get geared like, you know, I don't know, MC level of gear for 3,000-4,000 gold maybe. So yeah, that's a ridiculous number right there for sure.
Friendly version of fucking World of Warcraft Classic I've ever seen. The price to fucking pump is so fucking expensive. It was pissing everyone off, and everyone was quitting.
I will say this though. It's not like vanilla, the base game is cheap, right? Vanilla is probably the most expensive version of the game as far as prepping for raid compared to other versions of the game, because there's just so many things you have to buy. TBC was pretty expensive too, but because I don't know the exact gold making numbers in SOD, I don't know exactly how to compare it to OG vanilla and like which one is more expensive as far as like the gold per hour you can make, but this part I don't necessarily think would have been a problem for me if I were to play it, but I can see why it's a problem for some people for sure.
Like,
plus I don't know the methods to make gold. Like the methods that I know how to make gold in vanilla I enjoy, but maybe because I know like incursions are a thing, right? Like if you fucking hate incursions, I don't know how many other ways there are to make gold.
Like, I don't get why it's so un-alt friendly. And they never addressed the issue, man. They never did anything about it. People were fucking quitting left and fucking right because it's so fucking expensive. And the way to get money was to fucking roleplay as a bot and do nightmare incursions, which I don't know who on the Blizzard team thought replicating the Silithus badge quest was
Dude,
the fucking play.
That's what that sounds like they're like, right? That's such a perfect comparison that I never even thought of. Holy fuck, yeah. Like, no one fucking likes doing that shit, right? Like, ironically, I'm gonna start doing that pretty soon on my warrior, but they still get Earthstrike at the end. But yeah, just, if I had to do Silithus field duty runs to make fucking gold, holy shit, I'd blow my brains out.
Because no one liked that system to begin with. Man, you're gonna sit there for hours, get a group, like, rely on an add-on so you could run around these nightmare incursions that were so fucking buggy that it would like spin you around and you would die just trying to come in and out, or it was so fucking annoying, man.
I lost. Oh, I'm rolling on.
Like, they wouldn't even give us 25 fucking quest log slots or unlimited quest log slots. Like, you need 18 quest logs and a whole block of time to just roleplay as a bot where you mindlessly, you don't even do combat. It was like, it was so scuffed, man. It wasn't fun, which makes me wonder how many people on the Classic WoW dev team actually played Classic WoW.
I think they do. This is my pure guess, of course. I think they do. But I think the idea of they don't. How do I put this properly? I think the idea of what other players are going to like or not going to like is constantly in the back of their minds, even when they play the game. Like when they're playing the game, they have to be approaching the game in a way where like, okay, if I was a regular player, would I like this? And it's harder for them to probably approach the game in a way where it's just like, oh, here's what I like and here's what I'm enjoying, so maybe we should do more of this. It's never going to be like what necessarily just they like. It's going to be like, but are other people going to enjoy this too? And like, in fairness, like that's how you kind of have to think as a dev, right? You can't just design it solely based on your own personal preferences. But I mean, I guess the answer is Fei's question here. If I had to guess, do they play? Yes, they do. Do they play in the same sort of style that like Onslaught does? Nowhere fucking close, man. Is Agron speedrunning? No, I'm pretty sure he's probably just doing some dad gaming.
From the UK.
Dad's coming to have the Prime sub now for 33 months. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Your sub will go directly to the Hot Pockets and a Doritos fund. Appreciate you, dude. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Agran, and I just probably, I know this is generalizing, but the classic WoW team in general probably is like closer to like the dad gamer side of things, where they just play a few hours every week and show up to raid, and they don't care about parsing, and they don't care about like speed running, and they don't care about min maxing every fucking consume in the game, blah 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 blah. Which in fairness is the way most players play it, and that's kind of why I thought that it's why I didn't have any interest in playing SOD, is just because like it looked like a version of the game that would be more catered towards the type of player that didn't feel the pressure, I guess, to pay all the gold for everything he's talking about here. Because I'm assuming like what he just described is like gold you can spend if you want to go like full max level pump, but like the classic the SOD devs aren't assuming that you're going to spend gold to get every single one of those because it's maybe not necessary. I don't know. That's just me speculating.
Because it's my feeling that there's like one, maybe two people on that team that are cut from a similar cloth as myself that are.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like I think they play. I just don't think there's many, or honestly any, that play in the same way that like Fei or anyone else in Onslaught does.
You know, like I said, I'm in my early 40s. So like all I know is classic WoW. Like I lived it, I breathed it. So I don't know, man. It's like it's the people making the decisions on there. They like, you know.
I just saw your comment. You don't know how they haven't taken OSRS's poll system yet and implemented it in any of WoW Blizzard or in attempts WoW Blizzard does recently. Honestly, man, when I see like what people are saying and what people want and what people are demanding on the classic WoW subreddit, thank fucking God they haven't implemented the poll system. Holy shit. If we let people vote, like if we let the people that I've seen like posting on that subreddit determine what the game becomes, it's going to be, at least for me, I guess I can only state my own personal preferences. It's going to be like unrecognizable as a game, and it's going to become basically just retail again, and it's going to be something I have no interest in playing. I mean, already SOD is already not something I want to play, but like, you know, I guarantee you a lot of people would just say like, oh, let's just change this and era and this and this and this and this and this, and I'm good, man. I don't trust the community. Well, I can only speak for myself. I personally have no interest in what the community wants for this game, because most of what community wants is like, I see that, I'm just like, let's not.
We wanted Classic Plus, and what we got was Retail Minus. And you can tell. It's Retail Minus. These are retail influenced devs coming in there, man. I don't know how else to explain all the decision making.
Yeah, it's hard for me to know for sure if what he's saying is true or not, because I don't play it, but I'll get mailed my cut, whatever. I don't know how much it feels like retail, partially because I don't play retail and partially because I don't play SOD, but I always, from what I saw it more as like it's like Wrath, but in vanilla. But maybe at that point we're splitting hairs as to what the difference between those two things are, but overall, I agree with the sentiment. Yeah, it's not. I don't know what his envisioning of Classic Plus is. I'm sure it's different than mine, but like, I think we can both agree that like morphing vanilla into a retail style game in the vanilla world, it's not what I want, and obviously, I guess it's not what he wants.
Because they don't.
Fei and Alkaiser brothers, they are, yes.
They don't understand the magic and the ecosystem. They just stepped right all over it, man. It's like the Blizzard devs. The way I look.
I know we're gonna pause, Andy. Sorry, get over it. I just find it funny that he says that like, oh man, they just stepped all over the game. They just started telling us like how to play the game and how to started gatekeeping how to enjoy the experience. Like, my brother, if you played TVC and or Wrath, you would have seen this coming already. I mean, like, I know he didn't, so I understand that he maybe went into SOD perhaps a bit more naive, but when SOD got announced, knowing what had already happened in TBC and Wrath, I was like, I don't agree with anything they've been doing with the game since TBC and Wrath. So, like, I had no faith in them to not do what he just described, unfortunately. And unfortunately, I guess he had to learn that lesson in SOD instead of in TBC and Wrath.
Get it? It's like Blizzard is, and everybody knows this, Blizzard's not the same company as it used to be, but like, to me, it's like, imagine.
I'm reading your comments, by the way, even if I don't respond to every one of them.
Imagine the Beatles, okay? And you have the
crew control doesn't matter. Male's a little better.
Banger after banger after banger. But then let's just say George Harrison quits and they replace him. A couple years later, maybe John Lennon quits and they replace him. So you now have 2 of the original Beatles and 2 new guys. And then Paul McCartney quits. A couple years go by, Ringo Starr quits. All 4 of the original Beatles are gone, but you have 4 new people that are the Beatles. And they're making official albums as the Beatles, but it's not the same creative vision. It's not the same people. And you can tell, man.
This topic has a name, yeah, it's the Ship of Theseus, right? I don't know if he's referring to like, I don't know if he's comparing the classic WoW devs from 2019 to present day, if he's comparing the original vanilla devs from 2004 to present day. If it's the original 2004 versus present day, like the original dudes left a long time ago. It's not like they've been leaving within the past few years, right? So that so because of that, I assume maybe he's comparing this to 2019. So I thought, for what it's worth, the 2019 version of the classic WoW dev team was doing an amazing job. Basically, throughout the entirety of classic vanilla, with only very, very, very few exceptions, I thought they did a great job at releasing and maintaining and changing only when needed classic vanilla. I thought they did fucking amazing. I was so happy with them. And I would always say in that period of time how like, oh yeah, if they want to try Classic Plus, I'd be willing to give them a chance, because I think that like they've earned enough goodwill from me that that I think I'd be okay with them trying it out. Because at that point, I thought they kind of understood what the magic was, kind of like what Fei's talking about here, which was mostly just keeping the game no changes and just keeping the game as like a sandbox that you can just like have the player base develop over time, and not have something that like the devs, basically like not a game where the devs told you how to play it. It was a game that the devs just kind of dropped on you and said, here, figure it out. And I think the players figured out how they wanted to play it. And I know I'm simplifying this entire thing, but that magic of just like, here's the game, figure it out, we're not going to tell you how to play it, started to erode in TBC, and then it really disappeared in Wrath, where you could clearly tell they were taking a much more hands-on approach to essentially telling you how to play the game. And it sucks that that's what eroded my faith over time in the classic WoW dev team, and has gotten me to the point today where I have zero faith in them. So, you know, how much did the original classic WoW dev team in 2019 like understand the magic? I don't know. Maybe the fact that they just chose to do almost nothing with the game is not an indication that they knew what was the magic. They just were mostly hands off and just assumed that the base game was just the game that was going to do well, and they didn't know why or what elements of the base game were so good, but they sent it as is. But anyways, I know I'm doing a lot of yapping. Let's keep going.
You can tell, which is which is fine, but it does come off a bit as like a weird, goofy fan project. And I don't know, man. So that's what it feels like to me. And instead of like going with the music analogy further, it's like when they pitched SoD, it sounded to me like they were going to do like a couple bonus tracks, like, you know, like 2 bonus tracks at the end, or like imagine
rally
like
Fei back to
Metallica's
era.
Injustice
He'll never
for All,
play original vanilla again. I can guarantee
infamously, that. Jason Newsted's bass guitar is so low in the mix you can't hear it. People were like firing up Guitar Hero so they can listen to.
Fei is a big metalhead, in case this isn't obvious. So it's funny how I would never think to make this analogy, but this is not a bad analogy. About how, like, yeah, he thought this is still not quite what I want out of Classic Plus, but it's still much more closer to what I'd prefer over what they did. Yeah, they just had a few extra things that kind of just like seamlessly slot into the vanilla world and just kind of makes more stuff that's like in the spirit of vanilla, which I know is a very nebulous concept, but like make more stuff in the spirit of vanilla that kind of seamlessly is integrated into the game that we already know and love. Now, that's easier said than done, obviously, but I get what he's saying, right? Just a few extra things, just here and there, that didn't necessarily stand out and weren't super obvious and jarring, right? Just stuff that like just kind of blended into an already existing world, right? You're making a smoothie, and instead of adding like 20 new ingredients to the smoothie, you just add like 1 or 2 new ingredients and like keep everything else the same.
One, just so they could hear the fucking bass line because it was mastered so poorly. And so a lot of us thought with what they were going to do with SoD is remaster the mix, like bring the bass up, and you can hear those songs. You can hear One, you can hear Blackened, you can hear, all those old bangers with a couple extra, tracks and just a nice remaster, not a remix, a remaster. But it's not how it's been, man. You ever listen to a song? You ever listen to a fucking song and you're like, it's a song you love, and you have a lot of hours listening to this album or these songs, and then someone remixes it. And at first it's like the novelty of like, oh, this is a remix, right? It's like you're listening to it and you're like, okay, yeah, this is a really interesting, mix.
But then after a while you realize like, I kind of want to just listen to the original because the original is just kind of better, huh? Turns out maybe the original didn't need to be messed with in the first place. Maybe we didn't actually have to remix it.
Really weird to hear the black metal version of fucking Led Zeppelin, a Led Zeppelin song, or like this is a Lady Gaga pop song, but it's like thrashed out, right? Or like, you take a famous you take a Depeche Mode song and you add like house music to it. It's like, okay, this is like interesting, but after a while, man, you're just like, man, I just want to go back to the original, man. I'm going to stick to the original. That's what this is, man. Yeah. They took all the old songs.
I mean, I don't know. I just said that like, oh, Phil will never play original vanilla. Is this saying he kind of just wants to play original vanilla? I doubt he wants to play it enough to the point where he's ready to GM a guild, but that's right, Fei. Come to the lights. My son, come back to us.
Rewrote all the notes, and I don't understand why they have to do that. Like, I guarantee you, SoD would have been more popular and would not have had the drop-off, the 95% drop-off it's had, if it was just literally just 1 to 60 classic WoW with the runes. Like, why are you recooking this whole thing?
I'm not saying that I've been desperate to play SOD if that's what it was, but it would have been more appealing. It would have at least made me consider it more for sure. I'm still not in love with the idea of the runes, but if it was just that, what he just described, literally just classic WoW 1 to 60, but with the runes and nothing else like changed, I might have given it a shot. But we'll never know.
Why are you recooking all of SoD? It blows my mind.
I see his nips.
Like, okay. There's this famous video of Chef Gordon Ramsay, and
Fei always has the best fucking analogies and metaphors. This is something that was always so fucking funny when we would just listen to him in voice chat. He would come up with the most like hilarious, like yet spot on comparisons, like something completely random compared to something else completely random that somehow the analogy just worked. And you can kind of just see it in this video already. He hasn't changed one fucking bit.
It's a funny ass video because he's making a grilled cheese sandwich, right? And everybody knows what a fucking grilled cheese sandwich is. It's delicious.
Pause, Andy, I know. He hasn't done it, he'll never do it, but he would make such a fucking great streamer, to be honest. He's like Asmongold, except he's like actually a type of player that I'd want to play with. I mean that endearingly, by the way. Asmongold, like the reason I say that is because like he's able to be like super quick-witted on the spot, and he makes these hilarious fucking analogies that nobody else would ever think of. And he's a player who's obviously very passionate about the game.
That's what classic WoW is. This is classic grilled cheese sandwich. It's like 2 pieces of white bread and fucking American cheese grilled on a stove. Like, you can't. It's very, very fucking simple. But there's this episode. There's this video of Gordon Ramsay making a grilled cheese sandwich, and it is the most disgusting,
I know what he's talking.
Overcooked, over-engineered thing you've ever seen in your life, man. It's
shit where like the cheese didn't even fucking melt because it was way too thick, and the bread was way too thick, and it was like so crusty that would like cut the roof of your mouth. Yeah, I know what the video is talking about. If you haven't seen Gordon Ramsay grilled cheese video, watch that disaster class if you have some spare time.
He got roasted pretty hard for this video. You gotta check this video out. There's like so many like pro chefs react to kind of thing for this video. But he takes like 2 massively thick pieces of like sourdough bread, and he puts like these fancy cheeses in there that
super
don't melt.
Old hard cheese.
The whole purpose of a grilled cheese sandwich is the melty sandwich. Like, And on top of all this, he puts fucking kimchi. Like,
That's
I'm
right, he
Korean,
did, didn't
but
he?
I don't want kimchi on a grilled cheese sandwich. I want two simple pieces of buttered white bread and American cheese. It just
This really is
crispy,
a great
gooey
fucking analogy.
sandwich. But no, he makes this abomination of a grilled cheese sandwich where like he cooks it over a fireplace instead of on a stove.
Kimchi grilled cheese is so fucking good. Maybe, but at that point, it's not a fucking grilled cheese. Just like, even if SOD is good, it's not vanilla anymore. Putting kimchi on a grilled cheese like means that, like, congratulations, you're now eating like a grilled kimchi with cheese on it sandwich. It's a melt, yeah, whatever fuck. Like, it's fine if you enjoy it, totally fine. Feel free to enjoy whatever the fuck you want. But saying like, it's still a grilled cheese, and if you don't like this as a grilled cheese fan, then you don't know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to grilled cheeses. You're not a true grilled cheese enjoyer. Like, I assume that's kind of where he's going with this, right? Like, trying to say that SOD is a evolution of vanilla is a little offensive to like people who just enjoy vanilla, because like, even if it is a good version of the game, and that's obviously subjective, just based on your preferences, it's not vanilla. And calling it vanilla is a bit, I guess, maybe misleading to people that want to just play vanilla. Based on what I've seen, I know I haven't played it, so my opinion's not totally valid, I will admit, but based on what I've seen.
And he burns one half the side, he overcooks it, but he doesn't cook the middle doesn't even melt. And I kind of feel like that's exactly what SoD is. This is what SoD is. It is overcooked piece of thing. I don't know why you thought you had to reinvent classic WoW. It's like, I just want a grilled cheese fucking sandwich, man. Don't give me this fucking abomination, this Gordon Ramsay fucking Gouda cheese, weird Asiago, whatever the fuck, grilled sourdough kimchi on a fucking grilled cheese sandwich, man. That's what this is, man. I don't want kimchi on my grilled cheese. I don't need all this stuff you're doing to SoD, man. It's like, I don't get it, and I play Shaman.
Sorry, get my warrior tonight.
Started on Shaman, man. They don't play this fucking.
I don't know what they did to Shaman on SOD, so yeah, I'm not really necessarily going to be able to relate what he's about to say here, but I can tell you this, and it's probably should be pretty obvious already. This man fucking loves just vanilla, like the base vanilla Shaman in this game. This man is ride or die for Shaman. This man has never played another class in vanilla, as far as I know. He's never wanted to play another class, and he, regardless of what they did to it, was gonna play Shaman in SOD. So even though he was talking about earlier about how like he was okay with like the runes and stuff, like I'll be curious. I'm curious as to like what he, before SOD came out, if you asked him like what should you change about the Shaman class, what his answer would have been. Because like honestly, my expectation would have been like, I already fucking love it as is. You don't need to change anything. But let's say
in game. Like, it's cool to see the itemization coming up with the MC stuff. Like, this, again, it's like the remixing the base up on Injustice for All. It's like, I'd like to see Band of Sulfurous get its time. It's cool that they're adding feral damage to Earthshaker.
I did see some of the MC loot changes. Some of it, mostly, I know this is going to be a shocker, but most of it I thought was reasonable. Most of the items they only barely buffed or, frankly, just kept the same, or a few items they even nerfed a little bit. That was weird. But yeah, I saw they made like Band of Sulfurous not complete fucking dog shit. They kept some items, like, even though they made them a little better, mostly dog shit still, so that way there's still some trash in MC. I was weirdly kind of okay with what they did with the MC loot.
Stuff, but a lot of the stuff, man, it just doesn't need over-engineered and overcooked and redesigned and rewritten. Like, just the song.
Yeah, Vendor Strike still dog shit.
Rewrite the whole fucking song note for note, man. Just let it fucking be. And you gotta forgive me for not like bat chesting over the items, but like I play Shaman, and let me tell you, the gear has been bad. Like, who the fuck on their team is putting MP5 on all the Shaman stuff? It's like,
the answer to that question is very easy, Fei. And once again, I feel like I guess maybe he's obviously not grasping this as well as I think I am. The people that are designing the game are fucking dad gamers. Not you, dad gamer, but like, I play super casual 5 hours a week, and our boss fights take 20 minutes every time we kill one, where MP5 is important, right? If the typical like dad gamer stats were like, well, we need a shit ton of MP5 because we're going to be cancel casting the entire fight. It's going to take 20 minutes, and we need to make sure that we can regen 5 mana bars during this fight because it's going to last a while. Means that like the devs want to put MP5 on there because they think that's a traditionally good stat for more, I guess, traditional rating, we'll call it. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, like I said, this entire game was kind of designed and is being designed by people with more of a casual playstyle in mind, and that's going to result in MP5 being on gear and not more healing or more intellect or whatever.
Do you play my fucking, like, do you know what's going on with our class? Like, we don't need mana. MP5 is literally a dead, like, actually a dead stat. Like, not figuratively, it actually does nothing. It actually does nothing. It pretends like it's doing something. It doesn't.
Well, in defense of MP5, it does something over the course of a 10-minute fight, but it does nothing over a 30-second fight that, generally speaking, Onslaught's going to have, which I've already beat this dead horse. You get it.
Nothing because of Shaman Rage. Or Water Shield, which I don't even run Water Shield. I don't even run the Shaman runes. Like, the rest of Shaman runes. Like, they're all fucking dog shit. Like, Healing Rain. Healing Rain is so bad. It's so bad that it makes...
What is Healing Rain? Hold on, let me look that up real quick. Healing Rain. What a silly name for an ability, by the way. Selects the area 15 yards around the target player, heals all target players within the area for whatever per second. So it's just like Tranquility, essentially? Or... yeah, why not just chain heal at that point? Does seem odd.
New World Sacred Circle look good. That's how bad it is. Like... and it shares the same slot as fucking Overload. Like, what do I want to do? AoE healing tool number 1 that hits outside my party and smart jumps? Or do I want to use AoE spell number 2 where no one knows where it is? It fucking... no one can see it. It's like this weird AoE maintenance healing spell that doesn't have the burst healing that Chain Heal does. Like, why are these two tools on the same slot? Why is healing...
yeah, I mean, I'm sure in very niche situational cases, maybe you could make an argument for why that ability, what he just described, is good. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, why not just chain heal at that point?
Rain's so dog shit.
In SOD, you can have a raid full of shamans, they will never get But yeah, the point that he's trying to make here is that not going doesn't help you kill the boss faster. Not going doesn't help you pump harder, right? Like, when the focus as a healer is, instead of like maximizing your healing output and maximizing your APM, when it's not that, and instead it's, well, let's not go then it vastly changes the dynamic of the raid, right? Like, all of a sudden, like, well, the tank is going to be like on the fucking brink of dying the entire time because healers are hitting with these like little dog shit mini little tickle your balls heals. And so therefore you're going to be more threat capped and blah, blah, blah. Whereas, like, you know, if you're going full on balls to the wall, you don't give a fuck. Like, if I go that's fine. As long as I keep spamming the tank and he stays alive, and then you can blast shit, right? The tank can wear more aggressive gear, and the DPS players, whatever. So anyways, what he's trying to say here is that MP5 and just mana sustain for shamans, yeah, you'll never go that's nice and all, but if it doesn't increase your healing per second, it doesn't really make a difference over the course of a 30-second fight. What's up, Murloc coming in hop the gifted sub? Oh shit, Onslaught Fei. There it is. Thank you, sir. This sub will go directly to the Hot Pockets, Doritos, and Onslaught starting soon on eraFAQ. Not gonna hold my breath.
Like, when I watched the developer video for like their little item preview and stuff, they showed like a new relic thing, like Healing Rain's now instacast. Yeah, we already have Healing Rain. It's already instacast with the set, and no one uses it unless you're trying to do some weird hill parse shit. It's actually dog shit. It's dog shit in PvP. It's dog shit in PvE. I'm gonna drop this out. Meanwhile, this slime monster is gonna chase us around, and then, or I'm gonna drop it here, and we're moving from troll to troll. I'm gonna drop it here. Wing buffeted. Like, I'm gonna drop it here on this trash. We got the fucking Scooby-Doo ghost fucking chasing me. Some fucking trash.
I have no idea what the mechanics he's describing are right now, but I'm glad I'll never have to do it. That sounds, whatever he is describing right now doesn't sound like my idea of fun, but anyways.
Like, it's so unusable. Like, you gotta forgive me for like not liking like the rune system as a resto shaman, but it's so fucking bad, man. Riptide's fine, but like every other thing they've given us, like Water Shield's pointless. Water Shield is so bad because you literally don't need the mana. You don't even want the GCD to press it to renew it, because like sometimes you're just pumping APM heals.
There it is. That was always his thing. APM heals, APM heals, APM heals. Got spam the tank, spam the tank. That's just a classic Feism right there. I have no thoughts to add to that. It's just like, that's a classic Feism.
I started running Lava Burst because we're running Power Surge, and then B, we're running the Burn on the Helm, so we can like fish for insta-cast fucking chain heals. But if you don't need to insta-cast chain heal, you still have Lava Burst. Like, I don't even run Water Shield anymore, man. That's how bad these rest of the runes are. They're all dog shit except Riptide. Riptide's the only one that's fine.
Sure. Riptide, that was a Wrath rune, right? What did Riptide do again? Was it just like an insta heal? Yeah. So it's like a combo insta heal plus a hot. Oh, and next chain heal cast on that primary target within consume the healing. Increase the amount of chain heal by 25%. Gotcha. I remember that from Wrath vaguely. Sure.
Shield, no one uses it. Fucking another dog shit maintenance healing skill. Like what? Like I don't get it, man. You give Druids Wild Growth and you give Priest Prayer of Mending and all this fucking like. Rest of the Shaman do like half the HPS as these other classes, man. You give us Healing Rain. It's fucking, it's embarrassing. I don't know. So,
I'm not saying I know what they should or shouldn't be doing with healing classes in SOD because I have no idea what they're like, but Fei is obviously biased, right? He wants Shamans to be one of, if not the best healing class, which it is in vanilla, right? It's certainly the best healing class on Horde. So it is a little funny that I don't know if it's true, but apparently Resto Shaman HPS and SOD not being great kind of checks out for why he's not a fan of what they've done with the class. And like it does make sense that like if all they've done with the runes with Resto Shaman is just essentially stuff to like bolster your mana sustain, like that's not going to do anything like I said earlier for HPS, right? I don't know what they did with the other healer classes, but like yeah, if they don't give you anything actually to like help people survive better in a short period of time, then that's not doing much.
It's just not for me. The game's not for me. 20-man MC, it's a hard deal breaker. I really like what they're doing.
Yeah, keep in mind, I don't know what I'm talking about with SOD. I'm talking out of my ass, so everything I just said probably is completely wrong, so just ignore me.
Doing Kazakh, I really like the idea of them being instanced, but they're just rewriting the songs, man. You know? So
it's a bummer to see that he didn't see this coming. I'm not trying to be like, I told you so, or like, you should have known, like, I could have told you this, but like, I find it frustrating knowing what Fei wanted out of what Classic Plus in his mind is. I find it, it's unfortunate that he didn't see this coming largely because he didn't play TBC and Wrath Classic. And it's a bummer he got so invested in something that was inevitably going to rewrite the songs because they already did it in the previous 2 iterations of Classic.
That's how I feel about it, and I'm going to wrap it up. So, I don't know. Just going to put this video out there, and I don't know. So, we'll see what's up with next, man, but I'm done playing Retail Minus. The reality is SoD was an appetizer in between the end of Wrath and the beginning of Catman, and with War Within coming in now, man, shit's not gonna look good, dude. There was only like 3 guilds like speedrunning, man. So
bad.
That's it, man. No regrets.
In Cata?
I really enjoyed playing with everyone again. Thank you for coaxing me into playing this shit. It has been fun. My only regret is that we couldn't really speedrun in June because everyone was down on the game and everyone was taking vacations and the problem with scheduling was so fucking atrocious, man.
Roster boss, yeah. similar to what happened at the end of like FSP, right? We wanted to keep speedrunning. We almost had enough people, but just not quite enough to do what we wanted to.
I really wish we could have got reps in June, like proper reps with the speedrun crew. It would have been, I think we would have popped off, but we're like 3 weeks.
Man, I could say the same fucking thing about the last month of Onslaught. Man, I wish we would have had one more month of speedruns in Onslaught and Naxx, and also wish we would have had one more month of MC and BWL speedruns and FSP, but that's life, right?
Weeks behind everyone else because fucking everyone's down on SoD, so don't be strangers. I'll see you again.
Yeah, that's a bummer that it didn't work out. Even if I wasn't ever planning on playing SOD, like I was still rooting for Onslaught to succeed in SOD and for it to still thrive in SOD, and the fact that it didn't is too bad. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. The fact that it didn't see it all the way. Like, hopefully they had some good times. Hopefully did some cool stuff. I know, at least I remember from phase 1 they did cool stuff. But it's a bummer that ultimately, in the long run, at least for like max level rating, it's not going to work out. Turns out a global pandemic makes you look back on organizing 40-man raids more fondly. No, I mean, Fei's been doing that shit for years and years before Classic on private servers. It's not the pandemic. Fei, I'm not going to say he likes it, but he's definitely willing to tolerate the entire people Tetris kind of like cow wrangling or sheep herding, whatever that you want to call 40-man raiding. He's willing to tolerate it, and he's good at it. So like, that's why he's obviously okay with 40-man raids. But I mean, I can tell you, like, you know, I saw a comment earlier saying, like, you know, like they're surprised Fei didn't play TBC. By the end of Classic Vanilla, he made this very clear that he was like giga burnt out on the game and on running the guild and on just everything having to do with Classic. So, you know, it's not like he didn't play TBC. Well, at least as far as I know, I shouldn't speak for him. But as if my assumption is that it's not like he didn't play TBC because he thought the game looked awful, although the lack of 40-man raids, I'm sure, doesn't help, according to what he says. But largely just because, like, just super burnt out, which, considering how much work he put into Onslaught, I'm honestly shocked he didn't quit earlier. And that's not a slight on him. That's just based on how much work and time he put into the guild. Okay. Anyways, assuming we're going to start the next Naxx pretty soon here, I'm going to take a piss, and then we'll do the thing. Question mark? It's my offhand on this character. It's Iblis. Right back. DMF week, yes sir. Classic Andy, who only has ever played Classic, doesn't like other version of the game. That reminds me, that description reminds me of someone else too. Classic Andy, who only has ever played one version, who doesn't like any other version. Huh. Man. I don't know exactly who that reminds me of, but whoever it is, they must be really handsome and be really cool, have a huge penis. Slipped my mind. Oh well.